Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning, Rosemary. Good morning, Nick. Good morning, Becky. Good morning, Joy. Good morning, Rosemary. Good morning, Mary. Good morning, Janice. Apologies if I've missed anybody out. Lovely to have you with us. Gosh, there's 46 of you already. Morning, Beth. Welcome along. Good morning, Andrea. Good morning, Louise. Good morning, Sandra. Oh, I feel like I'm doing the register. It's going to be a very big register. I've got 56 of you to go through. Wow. Welcome along, everybody. Hi, Miriam. Hi, Vicky. Hello, Lorna. Good morning, Victoria. Let's put my glasses on so I can see. Good morning, Louise. Good morning, Diane. Good morning, Christine. Good morning, Susan. Good morning, Liz. Good morning, Patty. Hi, Elizabeth. Good morning. Good morning, Cindy. Good morning, Jane. Good morning, Leslie. Good morning, Lynn. Good morning, Becky. Of course, Rosemary. Ultramarine, crimson, lemon yellow, cadmium yellow, burnt sienna. Ultramarine, crimson, lemon yellow, cadmium yellow, burnt sienna. So, yeah, absolutely lovely to have you all with us. Quite exciting. 84 of you. Morning, Wendy. Morning, Alison. First time, Wendy, or shall I be gentle with you? So whereabouts are you all from? If you're from the UK, where are you, roughly? Don't tell me your address, obviously. Or where are you in the world? Hi, Sandy. Morning, Sue. Good morning, Stephanie. Good morning, Elaine from Cardiff. Norfolk. Gloucestershire, Catherine, good morning. Fiona, thank you. Hi, Cindy. A 2B pencil's fine. Christine in Jordan. Wow. And Crewe. Hi, Gillian. Heathrow. Wow. Solihull. Derbyshire. Oh, a few from Solihull. Lower Tab, not too far from me then. Morning, Amanda. Hi, Melanie. County Durham. Morning, Kerry-Ann. I will possibly... Oh, Scotland. Wow, we're... And Cambridge, Nottingham. We're all the way around the country at the moment, aren't we? Northamptonshire, Daventry. Milton Keynes. Yeah, sketch out what I've got here. And 2B HB pencil. Nothing too soft, nothing too hard. $130 of you. Wow. Well, Banbury. See, thanks, Carl. Thank you, Kerry-Ann. Suffolk. Hi, Sue. Obviously, I'm streaming from my dining room during during lockdown. And I'm from North Oxfordshire. That actually I can see blue sky today, which is lovely. Morning, Liz. Toaster, hi everybody, welcome along. It's lovely to have all of your companies today. It really is. So exciting to see you all. Northumberland, oh. Nikki, the sound might be your end. It might be your Wi-Fi. Rugby. Hi, Bill. That's all right, Sue. There is sound. There's definitely sound. Oh, near Heathrow as well. Somebody else. East North Yorkshire. Okay. Wiltshire. Hello. That's fine, Carol. Don't worry. That's the good thing about these live lessons, isn't it? You can watch watch normally. I'm speaking as loudly as I normally am. I don't know, is that better? The setup is the same as normal. Hi, Wickham. Wow. We've got people from everywhere today. That's wonderful. Cheshire. Lovely. I love Cheshire. Cornwall. Welcome. Leamington Spa. Coventry. Wow. 181 of you. Thank you, Wendy. Thank you, Kerry-Ann. Is that Malmesbury? Wow. Hello. 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 Oh, hello, Katie. Hello, hello. I can't keep up. Earls Barton. Lovely. Okay. I have turned my volume up on my phone because I'm streaming live from my phone now. And I am talking much louder. So hopefully that should sort you out. Gloucestershire. Blocks and morning, Jenny. Droitwich. Another Coventry. Essex. Wow. Garstang. Wow, wow, wow. This is excellent. Exciting. Thank you so much for joining me today. Hopefully some of you will be painting along. And if not, this will stay in our video section on this page forevermore, so you can access it at any one point. Hello from Preston. Hi, Sarah. I'm using just a ceramic tile. Plastic isn't really good for watercolours, so if you use an old saucer or a tea plate or a side plate, it should be wonderful. Yeah, I don't think I'd fit 207 of you into our normal classroom, so it's lovely to have so many of you with us from all over the world. It saves you on the petrol fuel as well. Sunny Bedford, it is sunny today. Wellingborough, lovely. Oh, welcome. So if you're sketching out, or if you haven't sketched it out already, if you're only just joining us and you are sketching out, just write drawn. I'll give you about 5-10 minutes just to sketch. We're going to paint more trees, and then I've drawn. But I just wanted to, I've tweaked the, my friend Kenny gave me this reference video. It's from a beautiful Bluebell wood. Oh, I've forgotten where it is. It's near Silverstone. And because I've not been going out, he sent me these when he was walking the dog. And he said he knew I'd like it. So I've tweaked it a little bit. I've moved the log over and I've popped in a little bit of a... Thank you. Popped in a little bit of a pathway. So the colours I have listed, I'll go through again. Are ultramarine, crimson, lemon yellow, cadmium yellow, and burnt sienna. I'll run through some alternatives. So obviously we're doing these free online classes during lockdown, but to be honest, they've become so popular that I plan on doing one of these once a month anyway. Even after lockdown, even when we're all free to roam, I'll do one a month of these free online tutorials. We normally do a free monthly demo, which would be today, but I will be doing today's monthly demo a bit later on in the month. But obviously we've moved all of our classes online. That's right, Dorian. So all of our classes are now online. Monday evening watercolours, Tuesday afternoon acrylics, Wednesday afternoon drawing, Tuesday evening drawn to acrylics, Thursday morning art for the anxious, Thursday afternoon watercolours, Friday afternoon watercolours, monthly calligraphies on a Saturday, and monthly watercolour on a Sunday. So we do all of these classes, and you can access them all via closed Facebook groups for just £5 a session. We are currently working with our Shop Appy site to enable us to do all bookings online through our Shop Appy page, because currently we're juggling through PayPal, Shop Appy, Backs, all of these things, and it's kind of hard for me to juggle through. Yes, Beth, lemon yellow, cadmium yellow. Morning, Carol. 235. Wow. I feel like a celebrity. Okay, so we've got ultramarine, crimson, lemon yellow, cadmium yellow, burnt sienna. Any purpley red will do, so you could use a magenta or a rose madder or anything really. Lemon yellow, you could use any greeny bright yellow. Oh, thank you, Patty. Cadmium yellow might be under middle yellow or mid yellow. And burnt sienna, you could use burnt umber, any sort of brown. Morning, Trish. Wow, look at all of you, all eager to go. So definitely we'll be doing these once a month, at least. And as well as all of our normal online classes as well, which we're also going to continue long after lockdown. So our online classes will continue forevermore for £5 per session. And oh, did you, Carol? Well, it's nice that you're feeling so close to us that you can speak out loud. Okay, so I've got 3 brushes that I generally use. I've got a large wash brush, which is my squirrel pointed wash, a number 4 round, and then a number 1 more detailed brush. The detailed brush I'm using today is a Pro Art miniature painting brush. And I don't know if you can see it in the light. Let me put my light on. This has got a triangular handle. Many detail brushes or fine brushes just have a straight, thin handle, and they're quite hard to grip. I'm just quickly looking in my water jar to see if I can show you one. So this is a fine brush, but you can see the difference in the handles. So the detail brushes are quite hard to hold. But this one's more triangular. What yellows do you have, Helen? Morning, V. Morning, Jane. If you let me know which yellows you have, I can try to sort you out. But you can see there, quite a triangular brush. They're £3.50. They've probably gone up actually now, because I know the prices are going up in April. But they're around about under £4. I posted it in the event section. So if you go to the event, if you open up a separate tab if you're watching on your laptop, yellow ochre will be fine. If you open up a separate tab, go to the shop page and events, I've posted this drawing within the event itself. What red have you got, Beth? Lemon yellow, yellow ochre is fine. Alizarin crimson, yes, is fine, or carmine. From Chorley. Welcome, Anne. Bristol. Deep red's fine. Gamboge, yes, that's good. And Chrome Pale, up fine. Yeah, you'll be able to do it with cadmium red. You won't get a vibrant purple, but you'll be able to get there. I will. This is a number 4 squirrel. It's just a nice wash brush. I use it for most things. And then a number 4 round and a number 1 round. Carmine's fine. Yeah, good. So 1/4 I'm going to start painting, and then we'll be able to get underway. Yeah, carmine will be better than cadmium red. You want a purple based North Somerset. Wow. So basically with your yellows, you want one that looks more lemony and one that looks more orangey, and you'll be all right. Hi Leona, welcome. You found us. In Surrey, lovely. Wow, 250 of you. This is lovely to have so many of you joining us. That should be all right, Liz. You should have depending on the set you've got, you might have 2 reds. One might look a bit black or purple, but it might be a crimson. From Lutterworth. Devon, Gloucestershire. I will be gentle, Debbie, don't worry. Well, gentle-ish, I suppose. Hi, Susan. And yes, and you can watch this later. This video will stay within this shop page, within our main page. So when this live has ended, because you can't pause or rewind a live video, but when this has ended, round about 12:30, you'll be able to go back into the video section and watch this forever and ever and ever. We will also get round to uploading it onto our YouTube channel. No, you don't need much cadmium. Lemon yellow is the main colour. Hi, Diane. Well, now you've found us. You'll know how to do it for the next time, hopefully. From Denmark. Hi. Wow. Welcome. Right, okay. Nearly time. No problem, Melanie. 260. How exciting. Oh, this is lovely. Yeah, I definitely, yeah. Oh, you know, Bewdley, Dawn. I'm actually not too far. I grew up on the edge of the West Midlands, Worcestershire border. And I used to go to Bewdley quite a lot. In my teens. Lovely Bewdley and Starport all round there. Oh, that's lovely, Victoria. I'm still here, Brenda. Good. It's obviously we're not in control of internet service providers or your own Wi-Fi strength. So if your sound might cut out or your image might go faint or blurred, unfortunately, that might be your end, but hi, Sue. It's ultramarine. Carol, it depends. If we can get started in a second, you might get a coffee break. Thank you, Nick. Thanks for doing that. You may well get a little mini coffee break. I've got a bit of a black coffee here just to get me up and running this morning. Okay, so we've got ultramarine, crimson, lemon yellow, cadmium yellow, and burnt sienna. They're lovely this year, aren't they? Good, Julia, excellent. Oh, happy birthday. Good. I've actually also, I'm magnifying that. I've got some bird song playing as background music. So we've got bird song in here as well. Oh, Lincolnshire. Hi, welcome, Tina. Lovely. Right, I'm going to start now. So I'll be going with the big brush. Give it a bit of a wet. And I'm just going to work on the top half, really. I'm going over my trees. Now, I'm working on a slight slope. I'm working on a Victorian school desk, so it's got a little bit of a lean. So I need to make sure the top of my paper is wetter than the bottom, because gravity will do this. If it's your first time with watercolours, the key, yes, it is, it's a tile, it's just a kitchen tile. You can use a side plate. Anything that's ceramic or enamel will work really well. So if it's your first time with watercolour, the clue is in the title. You need water. Water is crucial. They also dry about 30% or a third lighter than the colour you put them on. So you have to allow for that as well. Birdsong is really calming, isn't it? Horncastle, oh lovely. So you can see I'm just going to do a little bit of ultramarine, pull it out on my tile and make it really runny. I'm using tubes just because it's easier for you to identify the colours rather than me using my normal palette of full pans. These are just ordinary Winsor & Newton Cotman paints, so nothing special, not high quality, they're affordable for everyone, and we're doing it this way. So just dropping in a little bit of the blue. Oh, I've got a little, my squirrel is molting again, ready for its summer coat. Okay, so a little bit of blue just along the top. So you can see how mine's starting to spread down. Good morning, Anne. So you're Yorkshire based as well. Wow, 262 of you. This is phenomenal. Thank you so much for supporting us and joining in today. We really are just a tiny little art shop in North Oxfordshire, and our normal classroom can only seat 8, so this is just lovely to have so many of you with us. So while this is damp, I'm going to add a little bit of lemon yellow. I've still got the ultramarine on my brush. Go for sort of like a mushy pea colour, and I'm actually going to paint sort of around the trees, but it doesn't really matter if I go over them. So yeah, my friends Ken and Jane went out walking, and this is their reference picture near Silverstone. We're quite lucky near where I live. There's another bluebell wood called Badby, and it's it's a former woodland owned by King Henry VIII. And there's an old disused hunting lodge near the woodland, which is the first brick-built building in the country, and it's a scheduled ancient monument. Sadly, it's falling apart now. But this is slightly further along in Silverstone, so that's Northamptonshire, isn't it? Not Silverstone, or is it Bedford? So you can see I'm just dropping in the colour. I am Banbury Way, Diane. Our shop is in Banbury, in the town centre, and so is our classroom. And I live about 6 miles out. So normally, when lockdown is over, and I do, the first Saturday of every month is usually our free demo day, and I do a 45-minute demonstration at 11 o'clock on a Saturday morning, and that is also streamed live and accessible. But since lockdown, we've moved all of our classes online, as I've said, and we're giving one free class. It will be a month. Just because it's with the amount we teach about 40 classes every month, both online and in real life, in normal situations. I've added a little bit more blue, and I'm just adding, while it's damp, a slightly darker base with my brush pointing upwards. Oh, look, you'll have to call into the shop when we reopen. What we really love as well is if you're brave enough to share your paintings that you do with us. It's amazing to see how creative and talented you all are. And you may not feel it, but it's really inspirational seeing how people use our lessons, make it their own and do wonderful things with it. Painting is a guide and it's very subjective, so some people will like certain styles and some people like others, so don't worry. What I found over the years is everybody's always jealous of somebody else's work. So this is the same yellow and blue, but a little bit more of either, and just dab it in to give us a bit of speckled light and tone. So this is all done while it's wet. Don't forget, 30% lighter. Yes, I've heard of Whistlewood. Hi Joe, lovely that you've joined us. Yes, I will need a bigger shop. Well, once lockdown ends and we've still got social distancing, you're only allowed we're only allowing one at a time in, so we'll just have to have a very big queue. Fortunately, we share the premises with a wonderful cafe. So we've got an art shop and ground floor art shop and cafe, and our classroom's on the first floor. And then there's also a tattoo studio on the top floor. So it's a very creative building in Parsons Street in Banbury. And lovely people, very friendly atmosphere. We have different exhibitions in the cafe every month when we can open. And it's just a lovely environment. We've been in Banbury for 10 years now. But I've been teaching art for nearly 25 years. Obviously I started when I was about 3. Right, so you can see we've got little bits of texture. I've left this area lighter because that's where I want the path to come through. Or really I should be darkening that bit, shouldn't I, to make it feel like we're going through. Let's darken that area. When I want to darken it, I just use more paint and less water. And have the brush painted out. Don't worry if your paint escapes and runs and moves. That's what watercolours do. It's a bit scary for people when you're first starting, but you need to have quite a lot of water on your page. Oh yes, and the Skeptics, a vocal harmony trio also rehearse some evenings in the cafe, and it's also where Banbury Writers Group meets every fortnight on a Wednesday evening. So there's a lot going on in our little bit, and it is only a little tiny Victorian building. There's not a lot of space, but it's a lovely, creative, happy space. So if ever any of you, especially from Denmark or wherever, I didn't see you pop up, Daphne, so hello. You might need to turn your sound up, Rosalind. If you're working from your laptop, if you hover your mouse screen over my screen, you'll see a volume button somewhere, and you can turn me up. Most people enjoy turning my sound off if you can help it, but that's just the regulars. Okay, so we've got a few little bits of colours. If you want it to go to full screen, Claire, again, if you hover over, there should be a little square with little arrows on, and it will say click to enter full screen. Thank you, Sue. We love having you joining us for classes and coffee. Okay, so we've got a sort of mottled background that I want to let dry a little bit. I might use some of this and just pop it over some of the trees. I mean, I've got a bit of green that's gone onto my trees anyway, because I got a bit too excited when I saw how many of you were joining. Oh, Worcester. Have you all recovered from the flood? I used to go out a lot in Worcester and park along along the riverside and walk into town. And I was heartbroken to see how the floods had devastated the area last year. I love the Victorian Christmas market there in Worcester as well. I'm just adding a little bit of green in the sky. I'm fiddling, and I shouldn't. Carol, you'll tell me off, won't you? I'm a fiddler. Okay. Stockport in Cheshire. I love Cheshire as well. My favourite place is to go in Chester. I love the two-tiered shops. Yes, and the biscuits. I've run out of biscuits. My regular broken box of biscuits from the milkman's out of stock this week, so I'm going to have to go easy. Right, so we've got a mottled background just with the lemon yellow and ultramarine mix. Let it mottle, let it spread, but I am going to let it dry because we're going to block in areas first. I know, so morning Rosie. I know, how am I going to cope without biscuits? Well, I have got some biscuits. I will have to make some if not, but it's not the same, is it, as a jammy dodger and a Viennese swirl or a Nice biscuit or a custard. Okay. But I've got a bit of excess lockdown weight that I suppose the biscuits won't, a lack of biscuits won't help. I've been doing a lot of step counting from my chair to the fridge and to my art desk, but that's about it. It really is lovely to have so many of you with us this morning, and it is beautiful outside. The sun is streaming in, the sky's blue with lovely white fluffy clouds. Gorgeous day. I'll let this dry. If it doesn't dry quick enough, I'm going to whack the hairdryer on it. I've always got a hairdryer to hand, just because it helps. Now, if you notice, so for some of you that are really into watercolours, or for some that are just getting into it, this is just an MDF board that I've got, that I've had for 10 years. And I don't pre-stretch my watercolour paper. This is 300 gram Langton I'm using today. I often use Bockingford or Langton. It's 300 gram knot surface. I don't pre-stretch it or anything. I also don't tape it down. I just use staples on the corners and in the long centres. And the reason why I do that is you can see the paper has slightly buckled, just slightly, but if I get the hairdryer on it, so I'm going to make a bit of a noise for a second, that'll test your volume. You can see how much lighter it's dried now. Yeah, I've not been outside, so I don't know how chilly it is. I suppose I ought to go and check on the peas and the beans that are just shooting through in the garden. So if you're just watching today and plan to paint along later, that's fine. What you can do is just access this on the video section, and I'm trying to upload them onto our Facebook pages. So this is our 4th paint along session since lockdown. We've done 2 other watercolours, 3 other watercolours, and in acrylics, I think. Is this our 3rd or our 4th? I can't remember. Everything's blurring into one. Okay, so I'm going to move on to this section in a second. I don't want to rush you, but obviously to try and get this all done so you can all learn from it and do it in an hour and a half is a little bit of a stretch. Good morning, James. So I'll be mixing the bluebells. Now, because watercolours are transparent, you have to work from light to dark. Now, if we put the green foliage down first, the purple won't go purple. So we're going to have to put the purple down where we want it first, and then put the green around it. And yes, you can access all the other lessons and all of our other videos, tutorials and demonstrations. If you go to hi Kathy, if you go to our videos section in our shop page, so if you go to the Artery Art Shop on Facebook, which you're on, go to the videos section and you'll see a whole host of videos there on tutorials, free classes, free demonstrations, all of that kind of thing. Oh, don't worry, Becky. If you coloured in the trees, not the background, just move your trees. We can move things around in watercolours. It's not a problem. And yeah, and we've also got a load of demos, lessons and tutorials on our YouTube page, which is the Artery Online. And you can also purchase from our shop now on our Facebook page on through our Shop Happy site. We have 3 half-an-hour colour mixing videos, which are on offer at £4 each. And we'll email you the link, and then you have unlimited access to that link. Video 1 is mixing greens, purples and oranges. Video 2 is browns, greys, blacks and useful colours. And video 3 is complementary colours, what they are, how to mix them, how to identify them and how to use them. So for £12 you've got an hour and a half worth of tutorials on colour mixing, which is really, really vital. Because painting, when you think about it, whatever medium you're working in, all painting is mixing the right colour, putting it in the right place and making sure it's in the right shape. Okay, so I'm going to go with ultramarine. Let me pop a bit on here. And a tiny bit of crimson, because ultramarine is already a purple blue. You could use cobalt blue. If you use cobalt blue, you'll need a bit more crimson. I'm using a little bit of crimson to get a nice sort of, still within the realms of blue, but more of a purple blue. And we'll just indicate this lovely blue carpet. If you miss bits, that's fine, because that's where we can put a bit of green. So bear in mind, you can imagine my shock, because normally, as I say, our classroom only seats 8 people. So when I saw that there was over 800 of you interested in this demo, this class this morning, it's a bit of a shock. A lovely shock, don't get me wrong. It is really lovely to have all your company. And hopefully you'll learn some things along the way. So I'm leaving gaps where I want green. And now, as I come forward, I need to mix a little bit more paint up because I've run out. I'm using the point of my brush to paint the tops of the bluebells. Now, it really doesn't matter where I'm sticking them, as long as they're on the grass area, on the ground. That's all I'm worried about. So I'm using my point of my brush. If you haven't got a pointed wash brush like me, you can just use a round brush, and with the width of the round brush that will work for you. These swirl brushes are really useful. They're about £15, no, £20 for the size I'm using, but they really hold a lot of paint that you can do a lot of things with. If you don't really like the idea of it being squirrel, ProArty have just launched a natural synthetic range called Sablesque. I don't know where I've got that one, so I can show you, but that is a really lovely brush to work with as well. the Sablesque brush. And it looks very similar to this, but it's got a slightly different handle. No, I can't find where I put it. So obviously as you get closer, you can be a little bit more defined, but we're going to be fairly loose because of the time we've got today. But you can fiddle about. Ah, well, yes, I know. That's the thing, Megan, isn't it? Everything in our shop. We get people calling in for one specific thing, and then they never leave because they see other things that they have to have, and then they'll buy that other thing, and then just before they leave, they spot another thing that they also have to have. I think more people have a hobby of collecting art supplies than actually using them. My mother was an avid crafter, and her spare room was just like the whole of QVC Craft Hour, to be honest. So we don't want too much detail, but we do want to indicate where the bluebells are going to be. Yes, Sally, I will send you the link for the brush. I think every crafty person is exactly the same, Sue. We'll have a bit going over where the pathway is as well. I think that'll give us a bit of depth, and we'll have an actual shape of a couple right in the foreground. So obviously, normally our class is around about 2 to 2.5 hours long, but these free ones we do for about an hour and a half. Sometimes a little bit longer if I'm waffling. Okay, I'm not going to go too wild, otherwise we'll just end up with a big purple purple sheet. We do 40 classes a month. Every month. We only break for 2 weeks over Christmas and New Year. And it's really wonderful. So we do drawing classes, acrylic classes, the odd oil class. We do calligraphy classes. We do watercolour classes. We do art history courses and lectures. We do evenings. We do mornings. We do afternoons. And we do 3-week courses and full day classes occasionally as well. Once a month we do a full day Saturday class. Well, you see, once you've got the equipment, Jan, you can learn the techniques afterwards. The talent will come after, that's fine. You've got to have the stuff first before you can get the talent, I think. So never, if anybody ever says you've got too many art supplies and craft supplies, you don't need that kind of negativity in your life, Jan. We can just tell them to move on and just concentrate and surround yourselves with people who have also got huge cupboards crammed full of paints, brushes and things that you don't know what they are, but you bought them once because you saw them and they look really nice and they might come in handy at some point. Oh, that's lovely if you are interested. Oh, well, we do arty parties as well. Obviously, we don't do that here, but we do an arty party once a month from the shop on a Wednesday evening. We provide the materials and a glass of Prosecco and some chocolatey nibbles to ease us along. So by the end of the lesson, it doesn't really matter. Nobody cares what you end up with because you've already had the Prosecco, and that's the important thing. Yeah, it's lovely to have you with us, Rosie. It really is. Right, so I'm just going to get the hairdryer on this really quickly. It's amazing. The colour of bluebells can change so much as well, depending on the light. I know in a sort of evening sun glow, they go beautiful pink. Oh, what, the arty party one, Lou? I bet you do, with the Prosecco. We often do acrylics or mixed media. We've done glass painting. We've done brush pen calligraphy. They will still continue, but they're just once a month. Obviously, when lockdown has eased and we can reopen the classroom again, that'll be our next thing. I didn't. Good question, Trish. I didn't wet the bottom. I just put the blue on. If I wet the bottom, it would spread too much. We are in Parsons Street in Banbury, 21 Parsons Street. Okay, wow, 274, wow. But Sally, you can join us online. Nearly all of our classes will be online forever and ever and ever. So like this, if you go to our photo albums on there, we've got an album for our current classes till the end of June, and our classes, another album for July to December. You can pick what you want, and those that are available online in the July to December classes, say they are available online, and you can join us from wherever you are in the world online, and you can access them whenever you need to. Well, Diane, don't open a shop and be in competition with me. I'll have to look over my glasses at you. Okay, so I'm going to have to go and use a bit more blue and a bit of yellow. I've switched to the number 4 round brush now, and I'm just making up a green. Time's flying by. Go with a sort of yellowy green first. And I want to put this in amongst the background bluebells to start with, and do it in little dots and dabs. In a class, you very rarely produce your best work, so don't panic too much if it's gone into a little bit of a mess, because you're listening to what I'm saying and waffling on about you, trying to catch up and keep up. So it's very rare that you'll do your best work in a class, but it's also a really useful space where you'll be able to produce work that you can get a better idea, a better understanding of techniques or colour, and it'll enable you to try it again at a later point. So you've got lots of options, and because this video will always stay in our video section, you can watch it as many times as you like. The others have had a lot of views. Yeah, so with watercolour you need a lot of water. With acrylics you don't need as much. The water helps it blend. Because we don't use white in watercolour, we use the white paper. So if I was going to use, I'm not going to, but if I was going to have, I wanted a pink, all I'd do is I'd just dilute the red with a lot of water, and the white paper would show through. The red look pink. If I wanted a darker pink, I just used less water. I'm flitting a bit. If you miss bits in this, it's alright, because they look like the white bluebells that you can get. I do use gouache occasionally. Hi, Bob. I use gouache sometimes within my watercolours, or I actually paint a lot of the pet portraits I do. My commissions are in gouache. sometimes on a grey surface or on a on wood. So I'm basically just filling in all of the white bits in the ground. I should have gone to my big brush, I think, really, just to get this done. But I don't want to go too fast or faster and then you all panic. So we're better off taking our time. And if I take till 1:45, then I'll take till 1:45. Art is worth producing and not rushing if it's turning out like you want it to, or even if it isn't. Sometimes it's worth to trust the process and stick with it. Oh yeah, gouache is similar to watercolour in that it's been around a very long time. It used to be called body colour back in the Victorian era and the Elizabethan era. In fact, Queen Elizabeth's portrait painter Nicholas Hilliard, the famous miniaturist, he used body colour a lot with his watercolour. It was only available as white, and it's very opaque because it's got chalk in it, and you can mix white gouache with your watercolours and it makes them more opaque. So if you do make a little bit of a mistake or need to brighten an area, you can just use gouache. But obviously now you can also buy coloured gouache. So it's a really useful additional medium. I sometimes use pastels over the top of my watercolours if I want to brighten an area, because I can smudge and blend or soften. So say I do a background mountain that's too vibrant and I want it to be a little bit misty, I'll use the a bit of white pastel over the top and it softens it. So you can see my paint's quite runny, and I roll my brush around to get the point back. It's always ambitious to try and do a class live in front of hundreds of people in a really short amount of time. It's tricky enough sometimes just to do it as an actual painting in front of everybody, but to do it as a lesson, I love a challenge. So we'll be mixing tones and things shortly. And it's really lovely to have you with us today. So if you're just picking up a brush for the first time and you enjoy what we do, maybe have a think about our other online classes that we run for £5 a session. You don't have to join us in real life, you can watch it at any point. And they're through closed Facebook groups. We've got 10 different groups for our 10 different classes that we're running online. Some are nearly all are weekly, some are monthly, and one is fortnightly. It was lovely to have you join us. We've currently had people from all over the world join us for our online classes over this lockdown period, and which is really nice. Yeah, it's given us that nice feel, isn't it, at the moment? And I might, if I mix a little bit more blue in there, maybe. And a little bit of the red, just to darken it down a little bit. I can put a few, while it's damp, just a few more darker lines in there. So we've got a bit of texture in the foreground. We will do some shading in the bluebells. I know that might sound a little bit scary, but just to add a bit of, you can see that there's little dapples of light and colour in there. so we can add an extra little bit of texture in there. But it is, most of my students, I've got quite a few watching and joining in today, will tell you I'm all about light and dark and light. So if you want things to look lighter, you make your darks darker, and if you want darks to look dark, you make your lights lighter, especially for glows and that kind of thing. So I'm using little flicks, but I'm only going to go about halfway up the woodland with these little flicks, and this will add texture in the grass. So what I'm actually painting is not light grass, but the shading within the grass. I might not use cadmium yellow. I know for those of you that squeeze it out, I do apologise if you've had to hunt down for it. I try to limit the colours as much as I want, or as much as I can, to get nice harmony in the painting. So if you won't tell me off, I might not use cadmium yellow. But I always like it there just in case I feel the need. Normally I am on Discord, so I apologise if you're missing me on there, but obviously with 280 odd people joining me, it's hard to keep up with the comments that are on there, plus if I've got people asking questions in my ears as well. It's just a little bit much on a Saturday morning when I've only had one coffee. And I don't think we've got time for a coffee break today. Sorry. Well, you can still make one. Obviously, I can't stop you. You might not even be watching. You could be making a cup of tea and enjoying yourself while I work slavishly to create a bluebell wood in half an hour. So you can see we've got that little bit of texture there now, so make it feel a bit grass-like. I will do some tones in the bluebell wood in a second. I know, the water's lovely. I have a bit of an obsession in the watercolour classes, Lou. Once everybody's gone, here's a confession for you. Once everybody's gone out of my class, sometimes I love looking at the watercolour water jars, and they're all so many beautiful different colours along the same theme, and occasionally I do line them all up in a spectrum, just because I think they look really lovely. And if you do enjoy what we're doing here and the free classes, obviously we are a business and we're a small shop. There's 3 of us that work there, me and my 2 lovely, wonderful sales staff, who unfortunately are unable to work because the shop isn't open. They are being paid though, so don't worry. However, to keep us going, if you would like to even throw £1 in our PayPal account, if you go to paypal.me/thearteryartshop, you can bung us £1 or whatever in there if you want. If not, there is no pressure at all. Just enjoy the lesson, and we'll just be carrying on anyway. Okay, so I'm going to go with a bit more blue and a bit more red to make a slightly darker colour. And I'm using my number 4 round still. You can see I'm rolling the brush around. And within the bluebells, I'm just going to do, it's a bit too dark. If it's too dark, add a bit of water. Do you know what, Sally? No, I don't ever change my water jar throughout the whole lesson. So with watercolour, because you're supposed to go from light to dark anyway, in theory, your watercolours, your jar of water, should get darker as your paints get darker, so you shouldn't need to change your water often. But I do know some people feel happier if they've got a jar for a clean jar and a dirty jar on the go. I, however, just use a dirty jar. It comes from doing a lot of demos around and about, and you're not always in a position to change the water. But what I do is because paint water and watercolours and acrylics, when you put your dirty brush in there, it sinks. The pigment is heavier. You might find if you leave your water jar round and about, you'll see there's a sediment on the bottom. So what I do when I clean or just dip the tip of my need to add more water on my brush, I just dip the tip of the brush into the water jar, so I don't stir up the sludgy colour at the bottom. So you can see here we've got a few lighter areas of bluebells, a few darker little bits coming on. Now if this was in the real world, I would take a lot longer doing this, but obviously this is a little class to help you along and to hopefully salvage some of your sanity that's easily lost during this kind of trialing time, and just give you a bit of structure. Maybe you'll learn something, maybe you'll just enjoy the company. I'm here on my own, so I'm enjoying the company of all of you. You can see I'm putting a bit of purple in the background, but I'm just tapping it with my fingers to soften it. I will. I'll add a link. I think I can do that here. I think that may well take you to it when the live feed's over. But if not, I'll add it again. So yeah, I tap it with my little finger, or any finger, a clean finger. Can't believe the time today, and I'm so happy how many of you have joined us. Yes, it's created a link, that's good. Now, the light in this picture is kind of above, but I want to make it slightly I want the light to come from the right, no, from the left. The light's going to come from the left, so I'm going to use slightly darker purple to make sure that all of the bluebells that would be in shadow from the trees, because basically when we paint and we start out, adding shadow is really scary. However, it's the shadows that make things look solid and real. So I'm just imagining a line coming that way as if each tree fell. Where would they land? And where they land is where I'm putting the shadows. Where the bluebells actually are, I'm not adding any extra bluebells. It's kind of looking a bit like a bluebell would now, isn't it? I think. Stella, you can't start from the beginning until we've finished. So when this finishes in the next half an hour, 45 minutes, if you go to our videos section on Facebook, you'll find it on there under free online paint along session, Bluebell Wood in Watercolour, and you can watch it right from the beginning. You can pause it, you can turn me off, turn my sound down if you need to, and do it at your own pace, and do it then, and it will stay on there forever and ever and ever. So if you can't get round to doing it today, you can do it another time. Okay, Becky. It might feel like a mess at the moment because we haven't got the darks or the structure of the trees on. So once the darks go in, that will go. Usually about halfway to 3/4 of a way round of a watercolour, that's when everybody gets really annoyed with their work and they think it looks childlike, or it looks messy, or it just it's got no structure, and that's often when people decide to just give up. However, if you persevere with it and you start adding the darks, makes a huge difference. So stick with it. Hi Harry, wonderful, thank you. If you go and like our shop, all of you that are watching or that have just joined in, if you like our shop page, and that will hopefully keep you up to date, because when we do these live online ones, these free ones, we post them as events on the shop page, so you should be able to see them and catch up with them at any point. So actually, while we're on this dark theme, if I make a darker green from ultramarine and lemon yellow and a little bit of crimson, not too much crimson because it'll go brown, I can then also add green shadow. So we're still using the same colour, but we're just darkening, and that will help. See, this tree's going to be a big shadow all the way along here, I think, and we will put a bit of shadow on the pathway. I want to give you, with these lessons, I want to give you as much of a full tutorial as I can in the time, but also to show you what we get up to in our classes, our online classes and our actual classes in the shop. And I'm hoping some of my normal students will back me up on this, are exactly the same as this. Even if you're in my classroom, you still see a camera over the work that is picked up on a big screen in the classroom, and everybody can watch it and join in, and I go through it step by step. So whatever you see here is what you'll see in our normal classes and our online classes as well. So we do try to give you really good tuition, but affordable tuition, value for money, and to make art accessible. It's been our goal since we opened to make people appreciate art, and those who want to learn should be able to afford to learn, and that's what we do as best we can. We don't always get it right, but you know, we're human, and technology is a wonderful thing when it works, isn't it? Okay. Oh, thank you, Lou. Thank you, Katie. But no, Nick, you don't get the coffee online. You say this every lesson. Anybody would think you only come for the coffee. It's ultramarine, a lot of ultramarine, a bit of lemon yellow, and a tiny pinhead of crimson. The crimson dulls down, or you might have heard the phrase knocks back. So if you use a complementary opposite to a colour, it knocks it back and dulls it down. So we've made a green, and then we use the complementary opposite to dull it down. So it's ultramarine, a bit of lemon, and a tiny, tiny bit of crimson. So I'm going to stop for about 2 seconds, or a little bit longer, and then we're going to move on to working out the trees and the path. And I will use the cadmium yellow in the tree, I think. So I'll just give you a second. I know, Russell, I can't believe how many people are viewing this. This is 300 gram not surface watercolour paper. If you're using acrylics, it really doesn't matter. It depends how watery you're doing your picture. I use Pebio's Pop Art canvas paper, which is actual sheets of canvas that is primed, that you can use and paint with acrylics. It keeps it wetter a little bit longer, and it's just a pad of 20 sheets of A4 for about £14. Pebio Pop Art. It's brilliant. Oh, thank you for all the comments, students. Thank you, Daphne. Thank you, Sue. We try to make art as holistic as possible as well. I mean, we don't do art therapy as such, but we find that, as you said, Sue, no matter how things are and how you're feeling, you always come away much happier. Leona, you can buy from our shop. Unfortunately, at the moment, because our shop is closed and all of our suppliers are closed, we can't actually do any online ordering. But as soon as we're allowed to reopen and our suppliers open, we'll be hitting the ground running, and you can message us, email us, use our shop happy page, and you can buy anything online from us and we'll post it out to you, no problem. Whereabouts are you, Leona, in the UK? So we need to remember the light is coming from the left. We've got 278 people currently joining in and watching us, which is phenomenal for our tiny little shop in North Oxfordshire in Banbury. It's wonderful to have so many of you with us. It really is. It's really lovely that we have so many people inspired to come and join us and paint along. So thank you so much for joining us. It's really lovely, and hopefully you'll come back to others, or you'll keep in touch in some way. I know we missed you, Joy, but it's lovely now we've started our online classes to have you with us in a virtual sense. Okay. I need to mix the colour for trees. Now, for trees, you need 3 colours. So if you think tree colours, we need 3 colours. And those colours are ultramarine. I'm going to move it over here. Ultramarine, you can still say that on the screen. Yes, you can. A lot of ultramarine. Now, this is where the cadmium yellow is going to come in. I'd forgotten about the trees. How can I do a wood without trees? Then cadmium yellow gives me a really dark, sludgy green. And you never mix up enough. So this is why using 3 colours is, in this sequence, is a really good way to remember. So I've got a lot of ultramarine, a bit of cadmium yellow, and then I'm adding a bit of burnt sienna. Because trees are living, it's better to have a little bit of brown than make them all brown. Purple bluebells are fine. Oh, you're from Maryland in the US. Oh, how lovely. Welcome. It's early in the morning where you are, Karen, isn't it? Seven o'clock, something like that. So I've gone for a browny, greeny, grey colour. And we've got lots of trees to put in. But let me get some, while I've got this colour nice and fluid, I don't want to put too much brown in. I'm going to bring a little bit down here and add some water to it. And then go into the small brush. So that's a lot of ultramarine, a bit of cadmium yellow, and a little bit of burnt sienna. And I've watered it down because I want background trees that we haven't drawn. So these are trees we haven't drawn. And I'm making the paint really runny. And if I sort of hit and miss, it looks like there's bits of foliage through our trees. Now, I don't want too many, but I do want it to feel like a wood. And again, I can tap with my finger if I want to change it a little. So these are all fitting in on the back row, if you know what I mean, on that line that we've just painted, the bluebell line. Don't make them all the same width. Make them a little bit wonky. Make them a little bit wiggly. This little brush, Sue, they were £3.95. Now, I know Pro Artist prices went up in April. So they're £3.50 currently, but I think they'll be around about £3.80, £3.95. But don't forget, you get your student discount because you come to our classes. And so it'll probably still be about £3.50 to you. But but they're so nice to hold. They're Pro Arty miniature painting brushes, and they come as a very small flat. They do a 10, 0, 5, 0, 3, 0, 2, 0, 0, a 1, a 2, and a little short flat. Oh, Sue, honestly, they're so lovely to hold. I use them exclusively when I do my animal portraits because they come in such a lovely range, and for miniature brushes, they're lovely to hold. You can see I've got, hang on, let me lift out where I do my animal portraits from. You can see there they all are, the different sizes. I've got a nice little wedge of them. So these are all trees that I haven't painted. Yeah, do, Diane, that would be lovely. But you can still join us online if you can't get down to us. Charlberry's lovely. So you can see by making this watery to start with, I've got some beautiful misty trees, and the lines are broken, so it feels like we've got, excuse me, feels like we've got foliage. And other bits showing through. They don't all have to be thin. Don't think just because it's a distant tree that it's got to be a little thin spindly thing. You can get an old oak or something in the distance just as much as you can get a little thin twig. But you can see we're building up layers. It's all about building up. Oh wow, from Colorado, that's wonderful. Yeah, the triangular brushes are really quite nice to grip in general. And yes, you can watch this back at any point once we've finished by going to our videos section on this page and see how you get on. Absolutely, you should never feel guilty about doing housework instead of art, about doing art instead of housework, I mean. That's fine. My top tip for that, to stop you feeling guilty for doing art instead of housework, is to have a few get well soon cards on your mantelpiece. And that way, if people visit you, they'll think you've just been too ill to do any housekeeping. And they might even offer to do it for you. So there's my top tip for you. A couple of get well soon cards. You could even make them yourself. Okay. So that's our background trees, though we haven't drawn any of those in. Thank you, Sam. Samantha. Oh, thank you, Christine. Bless you. So I'm going to go slightly darker. I am going to rush a little bit because of the time. Oh, you're welcome. Massachusetts, how wonderful. Thank you, Gwen. Thank you. So we're going to get darker with each layer, and I've switched up to the other brush now. So I can still see my green coming through, and these trees are just slightly darker. So what that means is the foreground trees, these two big ones here, and then I've got something special for those lined up if we get time. Will be much darker, so that'll be the top part of the colour on my tile. So as you can see, I've just sort of left a bit of a gap through some of that yellow, so it feels like we've got foliage. Yes, I think it is, Dorian. I know a lot of places struggle with their internet at the moment because service providers are restricting usage because there's such a high demand with people working from home or just watching Netflix. So these are trees that I've drawn, by the way. Got so many techniques I want to show you, so I will probably end up going over. A lot of the time you get a lot of extra freebies from me because I just get so excited that I just have to carry on. So a good value for money. I am going to stick a few extra branches in so they're not all just like telegraph poles. Maybe we'll have a branch that comes there and one there. That breaks it up nicely. Yeah, I know. The problem I have sometimes is that some of my students think think their screen is frozen, and all it is I've just stopped talking for a minute. They're that used to me talking incessantly. Maybe I'm going to put another one in here. I don't know. Ooh, see, it's coming on now, isn't it? Starting to look a bit together. Yeah, the tree colours are ultramarine, a lot of ultramarine mixed with some cadmium yellow, and then add burnt sienna. So make a dark sludgy green up first, then add cadmium yellow to it, and you'll be fine. So with each tree that comes to the next layer, I'm just adding slightly more colour. $283 of you. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. Or whatever time of day it is, wherever you are in the world. I really appreciate your company. And it's lovely to see that we've got so many creative people across the world that we can help with your enthusiasm and your creativity. I'll post when I'm doing another one of these. As I say, I'll try and do at least one a month as a free online class. But as I say, we do also have our own regular online classes for £5 each. That you can access. All the information's on our Facebook page. I think we've got a pinned post about the current online classes. And I'm in talks, as I said, with Shop Appy, our Shop Appy site, to see if we can make it so all of our classes can be booked and paid for through Shop Appy until the shop's up and running again. And that should make life a little bit easier for me. So this is a much darker colour. I'm not leaving most of the trees like this, by the way. I am going to be doing a lot more. Yeah, the reason why I have the background bird music is so you know if you can hear the birds and you're not in a garden, then it's here. Oh, good. I'm glad, Samantha. It is. We want it to be relaxing. It doesn't always feel relaxing though. Sometimes it, especially if I go a bit too fast. However, I'm on timer. You're not when you do it at home. so you can easily do more when I've gone. But do please share what you've created in this session, because it's wonderful to see in our closed groups. A lot of our students also post the work that they create, and it's so encouraging and uplifting to see what everybody's done, and the standard is just fantastic. Even people who've never painted before feel they've got a little bit more confidence to pick up a brush and start again, or to share their work. And that's just really what we're all about here. So I've finished almost. I've just got one more of these trees to do, other than the path in the foreground, that is, and that, and then how are we doing for time? It'll probably be an extra half an hour. I'm a monkey, aren't I? I've been talking too much. So you're getting an extra bit of tuition from me today. But I want to finish it. I do, Harry. In my normal classes, I use White Knight's watercolour, and that's my watercolour tin here. But when I'm doing these sort of online classes, it's easier for me when I'm just using a few colours just to squeeze them out as a tube. But I always work with full pans in a tin. Okay, we're getting on. I know my palette is messy. It's been like that for a number of years. I never clean it, but I often mix on a tile anyway. But you get some amazing colours from the messy gunk that is already there. Okay, so as these trees are drying, I've said, haven't I, that the light is coming from the left. Alison, which green, for the tree colour or the grassy stuff? The grassy stuff is ultramarine and lemon yellow. The tree is ultramarine, cadmium yellow and burnt sienna. So because the light is coming from the left, what I want to do, and I'll start from over here, is I'm just going to wet the left hand side of the tree. I've clicked a button on my laptop, and I can't actually now see any comments. I'll get it back. So if you dampen the left hand side of a tree, and then you can lift off any highlights of colour. And what that does is it means that you're not going to get, you're not having to worry about making light colours or dark colours. The lifting out makes a big difference. And also what it means is if I want this branch to come in front, I can bring it forward just with a damp brush. So this is called lifting out. So you're lifting the colour off with a clean, damp brush. Ah, the burnt sienna. Okay. So I'm going to do this to all of the trees that are big enough for me to lift out on. And after each tree, I will clean the brush a little bit because it sort of gets a bit dirty. And because we've got some green overhanging our trees, you know, when we put the original background colour in, that will give us a bit of green on our bark when we lift it out. And depending on how textured your paper is, you might get a really lovely bark colour coming through. It's amazing, isn't it, Sue? It really is clever how it lifts out. Because we've not used any staining colours, because even in watercolours you get some that stain, if you wanted to, you can lift out right through to almost white paper, which I'm not going to do today, but I just want to make the trees feel a little bit 3D. And if you've got different bark textures, you can just lift it out in a different way and it will give you a totally different effect. So clever. I can't take any credit for any of these effects. They've been around for a good couple of 100 years. What I will say is a lot of the time watercolour techniques can be a little bit confusing. Their names don't actually make a huge amount of sense. Like dry brush technique, the brush isn't dry. And wet in wet, it depends how wet, but it's all the same. There we go. Okay. Oh, gosh, it is past already. So I'm not going to finish. I am going to carry on. I'm going to persevere. I'm a trooper. We're going to get through this and we're going to do a beautiful painting so you can all pop it on your fridge. I know one of you said, I don't know who it was, he's trying to do this painting and then they're going to give it to a friend to cheer them up, which is so lovely. It's a really nice thing to do. Okay. I need to put the pathway in and then these two really strong colours of tree. I might make them a slightly different colour. They're a bit gingery in the photograph. And then maybe some extra shadow. So there's a good 15 minutes at least left in this. And I am gonna stay and do it. So I'm gonna mix the pathway, which is ultramarine and burnt sienna, to make a dark brown. If you're just using burnt umber, you could use burnt umber anyway. So I'm going to start, unusually, I'm going to start with the pathway at the bottom. And I should be using the big brush, but I think you can see what I'm doing a little bit better with the smaller brush. It just takes me a little bit longer. And I normally would use the big squirrel brush for all of it, or for most of it. However, I think it's easier for you to see. So where I'm coming into the path with the green on the right hand side, all I'm doing now, hang on, let me just come in. I'm flicking down with the brown, and it looks like the grass is in front. And on the other side, I can do exactly the same if I want. I'm going to leave little bits of white in the pathway because I think it looks kind of dappled and nice. Oh, I hate the word nice. There's so many other words I could have used. But yeah, you know what I mean. And then as I'm working my way up, the pathway is ultramarine and burnt sienna, so blue and brown. And by starting at the bottom, I can add a little bit more water as I get further back. And by just changing the tone in the pathway, it makes it feel like it's going further back. I might make it a little bit darker right at the front. like that. Oh, do you, Cheryl? I'm a bit obsessed with clocks here in my house. I've got an old-fashioned clock in every room that I have to wind up a couple of times a week. The one you can hear is an old 1930s Bakelite clock. Because I'm in my dining room. I've got a little grandmother clock in the living room, as well as a mantel clock. The mantel clock doesn't chime, but I do love clocks. They're not to everybody's. Hi V, welcome. They're not to everybody's taste, but I do enjoy listening to clock ticking. Okay, we're nearly there now. We're very nearly there. I do want to add some shadow to the path from the trees. Maybe do something with some leaves that are more close to. And then do these 2 logs. And then we're done. I really hope you're all finding today useful and you're enjoying it. It's wonderful to have so many of you joining us and painting along, or know that you're all going to join in later. It's really encouraging, so thank you so much. Okay, so I'm going to mix a slightly darker ultramarine and burnt sienna together and add a little bit of crimson, just a little bit, to warm it up. Make it a sort of purple grey. I'm going to use that as a little bit of shadow. All I'm going to do with that is, and it doesn't matter if my path's wet, is I'm going to just pop it on, just on the edge of the path on the left-hand side, and across the path where the trees are going. Now, what this does is it will ground the path. You can even bring some of this purple colour out to just create some interest and some depth within the path, so it feels like it's a little bit undulating and a little uneven maybe. And I'm going to just lighten it. There's a bit more there. There's a bit of a tree there as well. Oh, lots of trees. It's a wood though, after all, I suppose. So. So can you see what I mean about adding darks? It makes a huge difference to the whole painting once the darks come on. So you almost have to really believe in the process of what you're doing, that it will come and work. The shadow on the path is ultramarine, burnt sienna, and a little bit of crimson. Path shadows, Ruth, yeah, it's ultramarine, burnt sienna, a lot of ultramarine, a bit of burnt sienna, and a little bit of crimson. So it's a purple grey. And it just helps tie things together. Happy little trees with their little friends. Absolutely. So obviously this isn't my best painting because I'm rushing it, but it will give you the idea of how things could work and develop within your piece. I do want to make something of some closer leaves in the foreground and these 2 trees. I might do the leaves now. Oh, thank you, Harry. If I mix a bit of ultramarine and lemon yellow, I've got a tiny bit of space I can use. Oh yes, Louise, you're using your new watercolour set, I suppose, today, aren't you, Lou? Oh, good. I'm glad you're enjoying yourselves. So I'm sort of just using the same yellow and ultramarine mix, but because the colours are transparent, you can add a colour over the top, and it gives you 3D straight away. It's really lovely. So I might add, don't get carried away with this though, because obviously, well, you can get carried away at home. I don't mind what you do in your own time, but obviously I've got to go in a bit, and I'm getting too carried away myself. I've got lots of things to do today. I'm singing a show at 4:30 that I've got to get prepared for. So I've got a Rat Pack show I'm singing at 4:30, and I've got to get ready for that. That's a live stream. Okay, maybe I'll go slightly darker greens just in here again, or use some of my shadow colour just to do a few little flicks in the immediate foreground. So this is the lemon yellow ultramarine, and I've also just popped in a little bit of the shadow colour. Oh, thank you, Jeanette. It's come on, hasn't it now? It's sort of taken its shape. Part of me is tempted, really. I could stick more trees in, because I've just spotted a pencil line of a tree that I didn't actually paint. Let me pop that in. I'd left everything to go around it. So now that's in, okay. Okay. It does, V. It stays on. So once I've finished, it will go on to the videos section. So when you come to our shop page, the Artery Art Shop, there'll be a thing that says like posts, videos, community, events, videos. If you go to videos, you'll see it there. And I have titled it Free Online Paint Along Session, Bluebell Wood in Watercolours. Okay, so I want to get onto this. I'm sorry to rush you, but obviously I need to get this done, and then you can carry on in your own time. I might add a little bit of crimson. I'm using this tree colour here, and I want to make it a little bit more gingery. So a bit more burnt sienna, there's a little bit of crimson in. And I'll add some darks in a second. So let's put this tree on here. So it's got a bit of a glow. I'm using my big brush just for speed, not accuracy, as you'll find out if you look closely. By putting a warmer colour in the foreground, what that does, so we're using more brown and yellow, orangey yellows, what that does is it brings things closer to us. So basically with any scene, and I've done this with a few of our other free live lessons, is that if you use cooler colours, so that's why we've used a sort of like lemon yellow in the background, use cooler colours in the background and warmer colours in the foreground. You're reenacting what the National Royal Academy and artists like Turner and Da Vinci used to do, but also you're creating extra depth in your work. So backgrounds tend to have a more of a blue hue, so that's why I favour ultramarine for the background colour, although we're favouring ultramarine for all of it today, aren't we? Yes, so 4:30 on Bo Norton Sings is an hour of Rat Pack music. A friend of mine, Al Rayner in Australia, is actually doing a jazz morning until about 1:30 this afternoon. So I do want to make sure I get and see a little bit of that. And then tomorrow afternoon at 2 o'clock, I'm doing half an hour of duets. Right, so I've just mixed up a bit more of my shadow colour. And while this is wet, I'm just going to drag in some wood pattern. I might lift some of it out as well later, but And obviously you can get a list of all of the colours in this event, in the event that we've done for today, and also by playing it back when we've finished. I might go even darker, so if I go ultramarine burnt sienna, I haven't cleaned my brush. Oh, lovely. Thank you, Diane. Thank you. I really am over the moon that you're all enjoying it and you're all finding it useful. It's a hard time for everyone, and it's lovely to see so many turn to art. Even darker right at that base there. So ultramarine and burnt sienna together make an almost blue-black. It's a lovely dark tone. Now I know there's quite a bit of moss and stuff on this log, but I think it might be a step too far and it's drying already. But if I show you my mossy bit, you can sort of see if you want to add it. I'm going to add the 2 yellows and a bit of ultramarine. And while it's wet, I'm just going to drop in the colour. And it should hopefully spread and move, but I'm only dropping it in on damp areas. And it'll give me a bit of a cauliflower, but that's cool. Yeah, well, you could add a figure, couldn't you? It's a perfect spot for a person and a dog to go for a little walk. So absolutely add your little carrots. If I was going to put them, I'd probably put them, hang on, where's the centre? I'd put them there, just there. People in the picture will also create a sense of scale and depth, so you'll know how tall the trees are if you add a person in. Because we automatically assume that people in pictures are the same height as us. And so it works really well. Yeah, a little bit of moss. I'm not doing any fungi today, but there is a little bit of moss on there that you can see. And hopefully it works and brings it forward as a piece. I'll post this as an image in the event, I think. So I'll post this up as an image in the event part. Oh, you see, I could do a bit more darker green, grassy bits just in here to bring that forward, but I don't want to over fiddle and over complicate, because it will defeat the purpose of the lesson. So thank you, Leona. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. It's been lovely to have your company and lovely to have you painting along and all your questions and finding out where in the world you're all from. As I say, if you like our page, make sure you keep up to date with our events. We will be doing far more free online classes, but we also do regular online classes every week, around about 6 or 7 classes a week on Facebook. And you can join in then. Yeah, I'm not being a just adder soon, thank you. Thank you so much, and hopefully we'll speak to you soon in some form, or maybe we'll see you again soon. So thank you so much. Take care and have a wonderful weekend.